Adam Nelson, the CTO of Yipit.com. We're a local deals aggregator, and tonight we hosted the Django speaker series. This is our third month hosting the series. We hope to expose how Django setups are done in New York and elsewhere, and we're hoping to do it indefinitely. The speakers come from connections we have within the community, but we're looking for anybody who's a high-level person focused on developing Django for lots of different users based on either email, web, different types of clicks. Like a lot of companies, Yipit is focused on hiring not just developers, but also design-focused people. It's a real critical need for us. Many companies in the city are also looking to do the same thing, but we're really focused on getting people involved in the community, and I think the best way to hire Django people is to find people outside the Django community and show them how great it is. My name is Adam. You can reach me at adam@yipit.com or my Twitter, which is @Varud. So without further ado, it's Alan Beaufort from Sharpie.
So I was expecting to have my laptop next to me and not have a hardware failure 5 minutes ago. So let's hope it lasts. Adam has kindly he's my next slide guy. So I'm Alan Beaufort from Sharpie. We use Django, we use a lot of things. I should have a secret. This is my talk. Django is part of it. I'll start by talking about who am I, very briefly. What is Chartbeat? It's not, a demonstration. I'm not trying to sell Chartbeat per se, but to understand how we actually use Django and the different components, it helps a little bit to understand what we are. And I think it's an interesting product also, so I'll try to give a quick demo. After that, I'll give an overview of the architecture. How does the front end look like? How does the back end look like? Where's Django and then which technologies do we use? I'll talk about Django, how it started, we used the Chartbeat, how it evolved from the start to where it is now. Some of the lessons we've learned. I didn't mention modules, but I figured out we actually don't use any particularly interesting module, but some of the tips, some of the lessons we've learned while scaling and seeing Django scale together with Chartbeat. And in the end, I'll do some brief mentions of how our development setup is, how do we actually push the changes out to production, what are the tools we use. Puppet is one of them. We actually also use a little bit of Fabric here and there. So me, Alan Beaufort, CTO of Chartbeat, been there for around 2 years. Chartbeat itself is 2.5 years old, approximately. I was there when we were only like 3, and now we're 25, 4, something. It's on the next slide. Wait with that. So I've been doing just about a little bit of everything, front end, back end, operations, support, and now again I'm doing everything but coding a little less. Previously I was at Juiced, online video startup that had a lot of hype and then crashed very spectacularly. It was fun. It was a fun ride. I learned a lot. Before that I was a Mozilla hacker. I worked on Firefox for a couple of years. I was part of W3C. So I've done committee work, that's curses and blessings. It was fun, open source. So Chartbeat. What is Chartbeat? I said we're 23 people. Real-time web analytics. I'll get more into what that means. We're part of BetaWorks. I don't know if people are familiar with BetaWorks, but it's bit.ly, the URL shortener. It's a company called Social Flow. There's some small companies like Findings, News.me, tons of companies in part of BetaWorks. Chartbeat itself, we're peaking around 5 million concurrents every day around noon. I'll also come more into what are concurrents. But 5 million concurrents means that there are 5 million people, or at least browser tabs, on Chartbeat enabled sites, which is more than the country of Norway, which is kind of fun. We have clients which range from news publishers to Guild City, Gawker, EA Games, PBS, but basically all major news publishers in the US have Chartbeat. So whether it's New York Times, LA Times, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, the Financial Times, they're all Chartbeat customers. So whenever you're reading the news, we know. Yeah. So why there's real-time web analytics? Why do we need more analytics? Don't we have enough, like Omniture, Nielsen, whatnot? We think the web is changing. I think most people will agree. Attention span is getting shorter and shorter. People, including myself, have developed quite the ADD. In general, article shelf life, I'm going to focus on news publishers because that's an easy sell. So evident to see why news publishers and Sharpie fits together, but it will work for a lot of industries, just not as evident. So article shelf life on news publishers are super short. If you write an article, if it lasts for 8 hours, you should be happy. So when you publish something, you have to react on it immediately. Looking at it the day after or a week after, it's too late. We're also moving from print media and publishing where like you publish your article and you forget about it and move on, onto where you publish it and you react. You see how people react to it and you react to their reactions, and stories that continue to evolve. That's why we think we need another paradigm to handle that type of world we're moving towards. Also, social web, things go viral, you need to handle that. And unexpected successes. A lot of stories, a lot of editors know like this story is going to be a success. There's no magic in that. But there are also stories that you didn't expect to become a success. Like you publish a story and suddenly people throw it around on Facebook or Twitter or wherever. And you have to be able to know that and act on it. So, yeah, sorry. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, please ask questions whenever.
Okay, so if I'm, for instance, a surfboard company, and I'm someone who probably gets like 50 views a week, and I'm going to the beach for on my own presentation of check out my surfboard company and please visit my website. If I want to look at the analytics of my website, you think that Chartbeat is something that a small business like the surfboard company?
It's more debatable. Like if you only have like one, we can measure concurrence. I'll get to that. Like if you only have like one at any given time, and there are limits to how much you can actually react in real time. Maybe not. This sounds like an ad, but we're dirt cheap. Like it's like $10 a month for a site like that. So it's not like it's costing a lot. And then you will get an alert of suddenly like 40 people flood in at the same time. Maybe you want to know that, and maybe that's worth $10 a month. But it's more debatable what you can use it for on a day-to-day basis. Like what are you going to change in real time? Probably not a whole lot.
I think better clarification of my question is, if I'm a small business or medium-sized business that is trying different things to get people to visit my website, is Chartbeat the type of service that will reflect how well it's going for
Yeah, definitely. Like you can see, like we maybe see in the demo, like you can see, like if you try to like do PR for yourself on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you do, you can see people where they come from immediately. You can see whether they actually like stay on the page you just promoted. Where do they go from that page? Do they go where you actually expected them to go? Maybe they're not. Maybe you have like 4 links and they're only clicking on one of them. Maybe exchange the 3 other links. You can see that in real time. You can do the change and you can see what that change makes of the difference in real time. So in that sense, you can definitely use it. Yep.
Will the slides be available afterwards?
Yes, there's a Bitly link in the start. It'll be at the end of the slides also. Cool. Yeah, anything else?
No, thank you.
But yeah, please interrupt me at any time with questions. So another difference that we think we need for analytics is who we're targeting. Like a lot of analytics, we're targeting an analytics team. They look at reports, they look over a week, they look over a month, and that's still going to exist and it's still very much needed. What we're trying to do is focus on the people who actually create the content. News publishers, they'll be authors and editors. The people that can actually make a change in real time. Like an analytics team are not going to change the website in real time. They're going to do some reports and come with recommendations, and we still need that. But the people who actually create the articles that can see, oh no, they're going viral. Maybe we should change it. Maybe we should swap articles, links, change the title, etc. Those are the people we're trying to target. Those are people that so far have seen analytics as a boring PDF report. They get once a week, and then they'll read it. So we're trying to create a tool, and I think that's one of the really important things about Chartbeat that these people can use. People that have never seen analytics before, and suddenly they can get a feel for analytics and use it in their daily life. And again, we're trying to empower them. We're not trying to replace anything. We're not trying to make news publishing automatic or anything. We're trying to give people tools to do their jobs better. As I said, concurrence. You can't find page views anywhere at Chartbeat. We only measure concurrence. Why we think that is important is like if you take an analogy of some person standing outside a store and counting the people that walk into the store. Fine, you'll know how many people actually went into the store, but he doesn't actually know how long they stayed. He doesn't know how long they actually were browsing your sales section, how long time they're browsing your jeans section, how long time was the customer talking on a mobile phone or with a friend, in the store, not actually looking at the store. That's sort of the analogy we're trying to, like page view, you'll get how many people visit your site, but you don't actually know what they did. Like how long time were they spending on the page, were they engaged with it, was it a background tab, etc. So we measure concurrence. We measure how many people are actually on your site right at this very moment and give you information about them. The scroll depth, whether they're actually moving around the page or it's just in a background tab being added. So what we provide in the UI, I'll give a brief demo and then it's all PR about Chartbeat. We give you like a real-time view of your site's performance. We'll show you which content on your site right now and then most people, which is the most effective content. Are the new returning? Have these people been on your site before? Or are they brand new? Are you dragging them in from Twitter, Facebook, etc.? Show you where do people come from, where they're going to, and geolocation. All this, and we also have like historically, we focus on real time. So we have a historic replay for the last 30 days. You go back the last 30 days and replay what happened on your site. But it's a little bit more of a bonus feature, like we really focus on real time.
Is your historic replay intraday data, or is it an aggregate?
It's 5 minute intervals for the last 30 days.
So it's a snapshot.
It's a snapshot every 5 minutes. It's what people generally need. You don't need like not counts like milliseconds first of all, and then you can't really add up concurrence. Like don't really know how many you have over a day. So it is like snapshot on a 5 minute basis. Yeah.
His question was really good, but can you explain his question and then the answer again? Like the difference between looking at aggregate data versus.
Well, it's like what do you want to like if you do page views, for example, it's easy to aggregate. I had over a day 100 page views, and it's easy to see like on a daily basis. It's harder to aggregate concurrence. Like how do you measure? If you do 5 minute intervals, how long time was an eye on your site, and how do you aggregate how many people, how many minutes did you spend? We're doing something where you can aggregate over how many minutes you spend, but not right now. So it's only in snapshot. You can drag it back. I'll show it. You drag it back and see replay. Like minute for minute, 5 minute for 5 minute, how your day went. It's easier when I show it. I think that's the demo. Move over here. So I'll give a brief demo of Chartbeat, like this. Well, that's not what I wanted to show, but nonetheless, that's how many people are on Chartbeat enabled sites right now, live, real time, 3.5 million people. That's the joy we have, bigger than Mauritania. So Chartbeat, there. So this is Chartbeat, real time. This is a real customer. This is Gizmodo, which most of you probably know. They're friends of us, so they're allowing us to share their data. Needless to say, all the data we have are like our customers' private data, so it's limited how much I can show, unfortunately. But this is Gizmodo. They are, can I do this? 28,000 live right now on their side. You can see the top pages here. What are the pages where most people on? Not surprisingly, like most sites, the top page, the home page is the biggest one. Aliens and dating. How's it Windows 8 right now? New Essential Apps. Up here is how the day went. The red line is the day today, and the gray line is the same day a week ago. See how the concurrence went. I said replay, you can go back and say, I wonder how 10:40 a.m. See in 5 minute intervals how the day went. Like exactly replay snapshot, 5 minute, yeah.
What does the guy at Gizmodo look at the most, and do you think he should look at what he's looking at or something different?
So it depends. It depends very much on the user. Gizmodo, a lot of people have it, like what I talk about, like unexpected successes. They have like Chartbeat running on like 2 or 3 monitors, and they have our big board, I think I have it somewhere, which shows their like top 15, 20 pages. And a lot of people in a lot of newsrooms have that running, and then suddenly they see an article, the unexpected success. So they like rise up to the side and become like very visited. And then like, hey, we did not expect that, and then they act on it. Then they try to change the title, they change the position, they take action on something. Other people go in and actually find their article and see, hey, where are people coming from? Are people coming from where they don't find their article in the top 20 pages and say, this should be a success. What am I doing wrong? Maybe we forgot to put it on the homepage. Maybe it's like.
So Gizmodo is observing that it's
there are
not showing up
like
Google all of a sudden. Like, so is Gizmodo will notice all of a sudden with a quick change that the entire gadget's not showing up on the first page of Google anymore.
For example. Well, not Google maybe, but like visitors to Gizmodo. Like suddenly it drops or it rises or whatever. We have other products. I'll show another product that has some more features which they also use.
Oh, and the second half of my question, excuse me, second half of my question, is there a presentation from Chartbeat that you think the guy at Gizmodo, like the guy that monitors their traffic, should be looking at more on Chartbeat than is already looking at? Like
I think
client.
Yeah.
Like,
so Gizmodo, I can't speak for all of Gizmodo, but I think most customers are still trying to get used to acting on changes in real time. Like, it's still like early days. Like people can get much more out of like observing where people are coming from. Like suddenly people are talking about this on Twitter, or suddenly people are sort of like throwing this around on Facebook. Go in and interact with it. Go in and this article is actually getting a lot of hits. Well, maybe I didn't spend enough time on it. I didn't expect it to become a success. Maybe I should go and throw some more related links in there, or maybe some multimedia, get some more, page views, but some pre-roll ads, a lot of money from CPM, make the article more work. And it's early days. Gizmodo are pretty good at it, but a lot of other customers, it's very early days. A lot of people don't do this. They're just learning it right now.
So just to make my current thought, so like obviously like Google AdWords, like you can basically pay for something now and see it take place immediately.
Yep.
So if Gizmodo is seeing something that is very positive for Gizmodo, would a customer of Chartbeat that's good at Gizmodo say to himself, oh wow, that's really hitting hard. Am I going to go to Google AdWords right now and spend $2,000 on that same place it's coming from to up it now?
I don't know if Gizmodo does that, but I know, for example, Time.com, which is also a customer, they use it to talk with their partners, like CNN, same organization, which piece of content to promote. They're saying, hey, this piece of content is getting a ton of traffic from Chartbeat, you should promote it on your homepage and then drive even more traffic.
So that's obviously why Google is very powerful, because AdWords,
and that you can also use that. Like popping up
very quickly.
The correlator of an article, however you do it, and people do that with Chartbeat. Definitely.
So there's different ways to consume information. For example, Gizmodo, you can either go to the page itself, so you're actually on the domain, or my form of consumption is really on things like Google Reader or RSS feed aggregators.
Yeah.
Is any of that data actually implemented or part of this data, or is that something that you can't really track?
It's hard to track. Most RSS feeds don't, for obvious reasons, execute JavaScript.
Are there APIs that certain of the big, RSS feed aggregators have to show you what's been read?
So we could like trigger like one page view, like load one pixel, but that's not how Chartbeat works. Like we want to know how long time you spend on the article.
Yeah.
And to be fair, RSS readers are behemoths. Most sites don't care too much about RSS. At least not a customer. Like it's cool that people read from an RSS too, but it's not a feature request we get a lot. Yeah. I would love to see it too, but it's not really interesting for most people. I use RSS too. So I know.
Is the data that Chartbeat is providing available only through this dashboard and panel, or do you also have APIs?
We also have an API. We have a full API.
Customers can access that.
Yeah, I'll show some screenshots.
Is this dashboard using the API as well? Or
yeah, we're totally documenting.
Does it have an RSS feed?
So yeah. This Chartbeat, you can see how many people are, we're loosely interpreting what they're doing, reading or writing based on whether you like to use your mouse, whether you're clicking the keyboard, to sort of figure out whether you're engaged in the page or not. Like if you're not moving your mouse, if you're not using your keyboard, there's a good chance of it just being in a background tab where you let buttons. Of course we're interpreting it and we're sort of guessing, but it gives a pretty good indication of how much of people engaging with the article. Set geo, shows page load time, both my server side and user side, and some tweets. Pretty basic.
I have a question.
Yep.
So how do you define engagement?
That is like mouse and keyboard. Like you use your mouse and keyboard while reading the article or not. We also go in and show on let's take an article. You go here, and scroll down. You can also see where people are scrolling. So the lighter the color, the more people in that section. And not surprisingly, most people stay at the top. And most people see the comments and then they sort of, it's not surprising, but a lot of people have a theory about this. People probably don't scroll. No, they don't, and we can show it.
Are you able to capture that mobile browsers?
If they're WebKit, yeah, or command browsers, definitely. BlackBerry, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, any modern browser will be able to do it. Yeah. I'm not looking at this side of the room. Yell if you have a question, or throw something at me.
I'm not a advertiser for Sharpie at all, but my next question is, I just noticed something about myself for the first time. When I show up at a website, I scroll right away just to see that it's working. So, my question is, do the visitors, does your analysis identify the utility ability level of the browser user?
What do you mean by that? Utility level?
Like, let's say I'm a site that gets 10,000 hits last week, or 100 million hits. Can you identify what the level of ability is of the person on the end of the browser? The person looking at the website?
What do you mean that ability?
Like, okay, let's say I'm time.com and it's an average, 5th year of using the internet person, except that it's Slashdot.com, these people have been using it for 20 years. Can you identify what year, like what the ability level is? And I'm saying, well, here's how. Like when I look at, I just noticed.
Sorry to interrupt, but maybe we can save this for after the meeting because
good idea.
we don't have a bit of a timeline.
Good idea. What else?
It's actually a really smart question, but don't worry about it.
We can do it afterwards. I'm here.
It's a perfectly valid discussion. It's just not the topic of the talk, and we have limited time.
So we also have labs. Just quickly show this, which uses our API. It's all in GitHub, open source. You can see how we build it, and it's like stupidly simple. Google Maps and Sharpie and showing where people, are coming from in real time and showing up a map. It's not a lot of lines of code, and it's just examples. And people love it. A lot of people have this running. I don't myself personally don't really see the usefulness of it, but it's fun. It's fun. It's cool. That's what people. Yeah, it does. It looks cool. It's fun to see. It shows a little bit of your side, but yeah. Let's go back and let's continue. Do you want to, Alan?
I can drive now.
So I answered this already. We do have a full API. You can get all our real-time data, you can get all our historical data. All our products are built in the same API. Standard, pretty standard API. JSON, REST. Nothing magic in that. First one. We have some people using their API directly in the products. TechCrunch, popular post is driven directly by the Chartbeat API. Same goes for Chicago Now. The Onion iPhone app, if you open that, the articles actually shown to you will be the most popular articles on their site, also real time. If you go to Business Insider, it'll have all the pages in the right rail that have a little, this is how many people are actually on Business Insider right now. And they also have a link actually to the dashboard. They open the dashboard to the world. So you can see Chartbeat traffic, or Chartbeat data for Business Insider. So I'm briefly going to run through our overall architecture, like how does stuff move around, where's Django and the big puzzle called Chartbeat. Speak a little bit about the different pieces, and then after that, into how we use Django. So, very roughly speaking, this is Chartbeat. I wish it wasn't simple. Top left, you have a visitor that visits, Bloomberg.com. They load our Chartbeat.js from Akamai, and it starts sending GET requests to Chartbeat. We do it every 15 seconds to 4 minutes. It's a pretty stupid way. It loads, inserts an image tag just like everybody else. It's a retarded way to do it, but it works in all browsers. So we send a lot of 1x1 pixels out of Amazon. Probably around 100 terabyte a month of 1x1 pixels out of Amazon, which we pay for. That's fantastic. It goes from the visitor down to our live data. Keeps everything in memory. It goes through our live API system, which is Cherrypie. And go. Interesting. Historical data is stored in MySQL and Mongo. MySQL is a tiny install. It's like if you're on a Meg or something like that. It's what also drives, sessions, user handling, all that, payment information to Django. Everything else goes into Mongo. Historical API, it's all served through Django, mostly for historical reasons. I'll go back to that. Live and historical API serve JSON data to Chartbeat.com, which is Django again. So the customer, we load the static assets, JSON, CSS, images from Akamai, and the rest comes from Django installed that runs Sharpie. Sharpie in a nutshell. Yeah.
I feel like you really glossed over what seems like a very interesting piece. Custom C, live data, lots of stuff. And do you
I'll be happy to talk about it afterwards.
Okay.
More than happy. Really, we're pretty open about our architecture and technology, so feel free to ask me. Maybe afterwards. Use some time. We're open about what we do and why we do it and where we're screw-ups, because like everybody else, it's not a perfect system.
I guess I asked because it feels like it's something that could be reusable. Have you open sourced that?
It is, but it's also a little bit of secret sauce. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair
Let's talk about it afterwards. The browser, as I said, is pretty simple. It's highly simplified, of course, but set a timer at the start of the page. Figure out the time at the end of the page. To see like how long time it actually took before we were loaded, after the page started loaded, and then set interval that paints our back. Inserts an image tag. Pretty simple. The front end, we use Google Closure Library, which to a lot of people seems like an odd choice. That's some Google people, which is probably mostly why. It's a pretty powerful JS library. It works pretty well for us. It produces extremely small and fast JavaScript. It does like dead code detection and a lot of other things if you follow their coding styles, which almost nothing else does probably. It also has a lot of compile time checks. If you annotate your JavaScript properly, it will actually tell you, hey, we are expecting an object here. Oh, you're actually passing 3 parameters into this 2 parameter function, and other nifty things which you normally don't figure out after that later. It's worked out well for us. It makes team development a lot easier. You can do interfaces, you can code to it, the compiler will check it, etc. It's good stuff. Problems, not a lot of adoption. You don't have all the flashy eye candy effects and jQuery, and my front-end developers sometimes hate me for it. A lot of our static pages use jQuery for that reason. Backends. So the one I glossed over, libevent-based C. It's the only C component. Everything else is Django, as I said. Django, Python, Django, CherryPy, Tornado. Most of our new API servers are Tornado. We're trying to get rid of CherryPy, but we're not swimming in time, so it works. And then a ton of custom apps, everything in Python. Everything runs in Amazon. We don't have any physical hardware except for our laptops. We use a very limited set of Amazon components. We use EC2 and EBS. That's basically it. We use S3 for a little bit of backup and some other facility functions. And we're looking into using ELB. The reason being that we've been like, should we move from Amazon? Should we not move from Amazon? And don't want to get us totally tied down with Amazon, and also frankly just like our time. So look probably at it. Dynamo is interesting for us. Going to meet their tech guy next week, so let's see. Who knows? World's an interesting place. So historical data, as I said, the real-time system keeps everything in memory. It never persists anything itself. So we had a lot of background queue jobs running RabbitMQ and Gearman that contacts a real-time system and stores these 5-minute snapshots, and they all end up in Mongo. MySQL, tiny. It's some historical data, very limited. User profiles, all that. Like basically what Django is hooked up to mostly is the MySQL, but it's a tiny one, and then MongoDB, and a little bit more Mongo. Mongo always gets a lot of community gets a lot of flack for being unstable and whatever and web scale. It has actually served Sharpie pretty well. We had some pretty hairy moments with it, like pre 1.8. We were fairly early adopters. Had some long, cozy nights with Mongo at 4 a.m. But since 1.8, it's scaled with us. Even like the 1.4 we were using, it's scaled. It's followed us in scale. It's Sharpie has grown. Mongo, it's actually.
How much data do you have in Mongo?
What's that?
How much data do you have in Mongo?
So we only store the last 30 days. We only keep the last 30 days online. Sharpie, we store around 1 terabyte a day that month. So in reality, we have the last 2 months live. So it's like 2 terabytes approximately. And then our other product, Newspeed, is around 300 gigs a month. And then we have a sorted other database. But those are the 2 clusters. So a terabyte a month in the biggest cluster. And replica sets in 1.8 have been like fairly stable. Like if a Mongo instance disappears, which it does, it's Amazon, I hardly have to do anything, or I don't have to do anything. We hardly notice. There'll be a blip, and new master is selected, and keeps on running. So I must say Mongo has really been working out for us.
How
It's
much
not,
memory do you have available if you have 2 terabytes of data in your Mongo installation?
what are they, 30, it's M2 double X large or something like that, so it's like 32 gigs, 34 gigs, yeah.
So you 2 terabytes of data sitting behind 34
Yep,
gigabytes.
and surprisingly it works fairly okay. We have some caching run, like it worked okay until 850, 900 gigs, and then it started having some issues. Like the red line we're drawing at the top is like one value and like 2 kilobyte documents that we store every 5 minutes, so 288 per day. You know, and that started like a little behind the like 34 gigs per minute. So we started like making an erase of that and store that in a separate database. But the rest actually works fairly okay. Surprisingly, I'm surprised.
Is it not sharded?
It's not sharded, no.
No.
Yeah. But it's sharding is like, how do you shard in a Mongo OS, whatever? Like our data is so easily shardable because it's like private customer data. You know, it's siloed. You know, we don't have like a social graph or anything. You know, like we can shard in domain. And, you know, so I don't worry too much about it. It'll be fun. I'm sure we'll stumble over some things when we have to, but I don't worry too much about it. And Tendon has actually been pretty helpful. And they're in New York, they're just around here somewhere. Yeah. So Django. Actually, like I found when I had to talk about Django that actually we don't worry too much about Django. Django pretty much also just works for us. So talk a little bit about how it started. Chartbeat is a startup. You know, there's like 2 people. One guy writing the C component and another guy doing basically everything else. So we chose Django, and you know, we had one toolkit, it was Django, and everything just like had some issues back in the days. MySQL had hiccups, you know, just to tie up all our Django threads, and everything just grinded to a halt when the server web page. ACL checks, we get a ton of like API requests. Each of these API requests need to figure out whether you're actually allowed to access that data. It's a glorified MySQL lookup, basically. But it wasn't good when our web servers were having trouble, or vice versa. So in general, we try to like take everything that is I/O intensive and just like move it directly from the web servers. It's still running Django, and it's been serving us okay. Everything that's at least tied up to MySQL. So just some specifics for the people who care. Everything runs C1 medium. It's 1.3. Pretty vanilla install. We don't really use any like special modules, apps, anything Django. Which speaks to Django, like everything is there. Everything we've needed at least has been there. 30K of Python code, approximately, something like that. And MySQL 5.1. And MySQL, again, we don't really worry about it. It's such a tiny install, so it just works. So some of the lessons, which were random tips, came to me when I had to like prepare this. Many of them are not rocket science, if any. But one thing I learned, you know, at least in a startup, naming is hard. It's not just engineering. Naming your startup, your startups, your company, and your products is also hard. I expect the URLs to change. You'll be sad if you have hard-coded URLs everywhere. You have to suddenly call product X, Y instead because marketing likes that. Use reverse and URL for that. Never ever hard-code URLs. It's, you know, we had spent hours tracking down that. Never hard-code the domain name. Probably doesn't stay the same either. You know, doesn't stay the same either when you want to put it on a staging server and suddenly you click there and you're actually entering your payment information on the production system because you didn't notice you were directed there. I've done that. Use per app URL patterns, you know, so you can like move your app around, like mount, you know, product X here, just have all the URLs out there. Another maybe not so evident thing we learned is, you know, settings PY. We just use that for everything in the kitchen sink. You know, like, hey, we need a setting. You know, let's put it in there, which is good as long as you run inside Django. It's not when you find out you actually don't run this in Django and run this in Tornado, or you don't want to have Django running on the server. Then it's pretty annoying that you have it in a settings PY file and using this settings framework from Django. So at least we've been trying to like move everything that is not Django specific out of the settings PY file because it was just super hard to like take things apart afterwards, which we had to do more than a few times. Also had, you know, sometimes it, you know, when things slow down, it's worth looking at what the ORM does a pretty good job. Sometimes it doesn't do a pretty good job. So sometimes it's nice to like actually see the SQL query and find out, you know, 5 of those joins are actually not necessary, and then do a handwritten SQL and, you know, one less web server. It hasn't actually happened that many times for it, but sometimes it's just been, what is the warning doing? Last one is a little bit embarrassing, but, you know, duct tape works, especially when in a hurry. I don't know what did it. I don't even know if we fixed it, but some of our Django processes sometimes just memory leak like bad. And we gave up finding the memory leak, and, you know, with the max requests, we use fast CGI. You know, so when it's certain 100 requests, it gets killed and new one gets spawned, you know, memory gone. Right blush, you know, it's not my proudest moment, but, you know, it's served. It's working, you know, it fixed it, you know, look long. So lessons we'd like to learn. Right now, all our static content is basically code. Like, it's in templates, it's in GitHub, which means that, you know, when somebody wants to change a comment, you know, engineering has to change that comment and commit it and push it, which is pretty retarded. So I'd like to introduce a CMS, which is not rocket science, but again, time, people. Fast CGI is so annoying to debug because basically you need Nginx or something else in front of it. It's hard to debug. Yeah, it's hard to debug. It's basically it. Everybody else uses Whiskey, so, you know, one day we should really switch to that. Another not so proud moment, we have a lot of if request is secure, if not request is secure in our code, so like direct people around, you know, depending on the page. Which is just retarded. Like have, you know, some middleware somewhere, you know, and some per URL flags or something like that to handle that. Because you will mess that up and people will end up entering payment information on HTTP. That hasn't happened as far as I know. But I'm sure it will. So stuff like that we'd love to put in. Shameless plug, we're hiring. Yeah. So Django wishes, as I said, you know, we've been pretty happy with Django. Like, it's had the stuff we needed. It's worked pretty well, more than well. It's helped us all the way. Two things, DB migrations are always a pain in the neck. It would be super nice if Django actually had that built in. I know there are projects that take care of that, but I don't know which one to choose. Make the ORM a separate project. Sometimes it's nice to actually hack the Django ORM without having to drag all the rest of Django with you. Well, that's easier said than done also. That's my wish list. So, I said, it served us well. It's super easy to learn. Like, people get into it, like we hire new people. People get it pretty easily, even if they haven't used Django before, which I think is very important. It's easy to maintain. One thing that is also like people don't value enough, at least it's on my not worrying about list. You know, I have a very big list of things I worry about in Chartbeat. Django is not one of them, which means a lot to me. Upgrading at least 1.1 to 1.3 was super easy for us, which is almost never the case with any product. And the admin interface is bliss. You know, we just need to edit. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, but you know, at least that's what we've been using. Like simple table editing, you know, it's just handled for you. You know, you don't need to invent that yourself, which is also really nice. That's Django. Any quick questions on Django before I move to the last piece?
Could you talk about how you use Gearman rather than
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. How do we use Gearman and RabbitMQ? Pretty simple. Like we don't use any advanced features. Basically, it's just queues, like FIFO, basically. Like so, background jobs for like snapshotting all the domains. You know, some job adder adds all the domains to the queue, and we have a ton of queue workers taking them out of Rabbit or Gearman. Why do we have both Rabbit and Gearman? We wanted to try Gearman, and now we don't want to try Gearman anymore. Do everything Rabbit.
Does Rabbit work as an actual job queue though, as opposed to just like a message?
It is like FIFO. Nothing else. We don't fan out. We don't do anything. We're toying with it now. Actually, we try to do some more smart controls. Just upgraded and used some brand new Rabbit and some new drivers. Found out that Python MQP drivers or whatever it's called is like slow as balls compared to the C ones. It's like 100 milliseconds to get a job, at least in our architecture. On the queue. Puppet, everything is in GitHub. One big repo. All the engineers have Boop, which scares the Jesus out of ops people usually. But you know, I don't believe in restricting people's access. People should be smart enough to do the right things. And we should have systems that make sure to alert people if they're about to do the wrong thing. I wouldn't say we're quite there, but it's worked out pretty well. All engineers take everything from coding to deploying. Like we don't sit there and lob some project over the wall to QA and they lob it over to ops. It's like every engineer is responsible for making sure that this actually scales, together with everybody else in the team, of course. But make sure that we're graphing this, monitoring this, and then deploying it and see that it actually works. So you take it from the start of the projects all the way out to deployment, which I think is very nice and it makes for a very, very interesting environment.
Do you have a distinct QA team?
Nope. Well, probably someday, but like everybody starts, you QA yourself, if somebody needs some other eyeballs on a big feature, the whole company comes around and gives it a spin on the staging server.
Do you have a CI tools integration?
We also have, Ulysses, and we have Jenkins run unit tests. Yeah.
And you mentioned monitoring. I don't know if it's coming up or anything. But
Yeah, it's like mentioned, Ganglia. There's Ganglia and Nagios. So we graph just about everything. Like API requests, latencies, index sizes in Mongo, average queue sizes on our EDS volumes, and whatever we can get numbers for, we try to put it into Ganglia, which is bliss also when you have to debug. What else? Everything's Puppetized. So Puppet is a tool for managing your servers. So it's Puppet, Chef, Castrano, all basically the same beasts, which says you define what should be installed in your server. Loosely spoken, so configuration management. So you say, okay, this is a web server role. It needs to have these 10 packages installed. You need to put this config file here to make sure this service is running, this service is not running, and stuff like that. So you define how your server
instead of just pasting in, starting new Amazon.
So you can, people do it different ways. You can also build out a server, make an image of it, and then clone that image. Then when you use a new package, or once we can config script somewhere, you need to remember to run it on all your existing servers. And you also need to remember that the image doesn't actually have it, so you bring up a new server, you have to fix that too, or you have to pull a new image, which is at least not well. Whereas Puppet, everything is kind of clean Ubuntu image. We give it a clean Ubuntu image and say, you're a web server. And then Puppet installs all the right things, make sure Nginx is running, make sure Django is there, make sure all the dependencies are there. And when we change something, say, hey, I need to run Django with max request 110. Change in Puppet, and it pushes it out to all the web servers and restarts the services. And it is goddamn bliss.
Puppet will do Django, and will it also set up MySQL connections?
It'll do everything, whatever you want it to do. Basically, it can install packages, it can write files, it can delete files, set up users, whatever.
I didn't know about Puppet till I read it. Thank you very much.
Of course. It is Puppet, Chef are at least the ones that most people use. There's also a lot of older tools. But let's use Puppet as Chef. I don't know. For me, it's a taste. It's a personal. It's a taste thing. Puppet works for us. I'm sure Chef would have worked for us too. So take a choice. See if you like it. Puppet works. Your first time.
I was just going to ask how you landed on Puppet versus Chef. Did you try them both, or did you just kind of go with one?
I tried it a little bit. I must say, one thing that scared me a little bit away from Chef was the complexity of the dependencies and how much Puppet doing it too now. But Chef was oh yeah, it's a lot of setup, but we'll host it for you. I don't really need someone to host that for me. It's if I need this hosted, it's too complex. I also use Solar. It's well, I use Java for this. So things you first.
Why you Why you
Me and some other guys do Ubuntu basically. Yeah, that's what it means. It's nothing else than that. Personal preference, really.
One option, if you're scared away from the Ruby of Chef or Puppet, is something called Blueprint, which integrates really nicely with Fabric.
Yeah.
So the two together, Blueprint does all of the server imaging and whatnot, and outputs Fabric scripts that you can integrate into your Fabric automation.
Yeah. That is one thing. Both Chef and Puppet are Ruby. I'd rather not they're Ruby. Whatever, it's just a programming language, but everything else is Python, so it would be nicer if it was Python. So again, Blueprint, I'll be sure to check that out. Because, yeah. Am I going to change it? Probably not right now. It's a little, I need some guy to do that then, just not possible. So yeah, Python, you know, if to bring up a new instance, everything's, you know, scripts. So like new instance, web server, you know, and it writes the right Puppet manifest, bring up the instance in Amazon, tells it that it's, you know, this is the Puppet server, you know, and everything, and using Proto and Fab and everything. It's Python, 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 and Bash, of course. What else? Yeah, Jenkins. Use Jenkins, not only for tests, but also the violations plugin, which I recently actually set up. Give me 1 sec. Can actually run Peb8, PyLint, PyFlakes, all that, and give you some nice graphs about how many or how few violations you actually have. I can tell you our Django install doesn't look too pretty. Well, the rest of the code is a little bit better state, but that's actually very nice to be able to see, hey, let's check and actually like, increase the violations by whatever, 25 or 30 or something like that. And you can set the build to be unstable if you go over a certain amount and stuff like that. I've also started using a local VirtualBox VM. I was getting pretty tired of, you know, managing whenever we had a new dependency to Django or whatever it was, people had to remember to install it on their server. Sometimes it was Mac, or no server, it was Mac or the local VirtualBox. So set it up so we actually have VirtualBoxes turning into an Amazon environment. So it's like an Amazon instance, but it runs locally, and it's fully publicized. So whenever we add a dependency to a Django server, to a web server, our local dev server will also have that dependency automatically and just run Puppet, and you have all the new dependencies. You can, you know, scratch your local VM and make it a web server or make it a queue server, whatever you want. You can have it fully configured, whatever server it is in the architecture, running your local VM, and you know it's exactly the same packages, the same OS, everything.
What do you mean tunneled into Amazon's infrastructure?
So we open a tunnel, so like the VM actually, you know, whenever it tries to contact 10 dot whatever, it'll actually end up inside our Amazon network.
So there's an Amazon instance that they're actually dealing with?
Yeah.
Do you use SSH too? I know.
It's a combination. We use OpenVPN, but I actually use SSH support to the OpenVPN because whatever. Also creating user accounts in OpenVPN and managing that was a little bit too much to update. I'll probably start doing that. We can make like Puppet also handle. We will have Puppet like manages user accounts also. We have Puppet manage that for OpenVPN and just do plain vanilla open. Sorry, I forgot you.
Now I got a different question. What's your SVN approach to Puppet? Like, so my first question was going to be, like, what are like specific type problems you have with I didn't know how to ask it with different web server incorporations with Django. But then now I'm thinking as you answered my question already with how you use Puppet, like when you're not using SVN for your configuration files, but when you look at like configuring your server for new stuff that you're doing, and you're using Puppet, and you're using how do you keep track of like configuration, modification, and rollback?
It's also in Git. So everything is we commit to a GitHub repo, push it to GitHub. Puppet server automatically picks it up, and then the next time it runs on our servers, it will spread that out. So it's Then we have everything. We know when people change something in our config. You know, I'll personally go and kick people if they change our servers. You know, not through Puppet. Of course, it happens sometimes. You know, we're a startup after all.
Does Puppet have SVN that you roll back with?
It's Git, but yeah.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Because you can run everything inside your own VM. It's very easy to bring up like a web server in your local VM, make your Puppet changes, run them on your local VM, and see whether it actually works. Reset your VM, try it again if it doesn't work, etc. So it makes Puppet development a lot easier. You had a question? Okay. I think that's it. Is there one more? Oh yeah, definitely. I think I said most of it. Like, yeah, ideally, not everybody has switched to the VM, but everybody develops a local VM whenever it works. We also have some code review somewhere in there. On a per needed basis, we don't enforce it for everything. Push to GitHub, see whether like Jenkins likes it or not. Hopefully it does. Validate on our staging server and push it to production. And we do that like once a day to like 30 times a day, like depending on the day. We're pretty good at pushing whatever.
You talked about code review. Do you have a code review process, or do you do pair programming, or how do you deal with it?
So that depends. We're so small, like so we don't enforce anything. Like depends on the project. We're like a couple of people. Like the front end team right now is like really in crunch mode, like developing a new version of Chartbeat. So they're definitely pair programmed. They're sitting, looking at everything all the time. But a lot of projects, one feature is usually like one back-end guy and one front-end guy. No pair programming there. We use code review for everybody when they start. Everything gets code reviewed until we think that they're good enough to know it's a project, and then they run with it. And then it's on a per needed. When you think like, hey, I'm doing something here, I probably need an extra pair of eyes, and then we do it. Like, so we don't enforce code review for everything at all.
The GitHub actually provides.
I know, but yeah, we use review boards for it. Actually, I'm a love-hate relationship with GitHub and that aspect. Like, I find it hard to like follow a conversation in GitHub. Like, you get like 400 emails. Like, which one have you actually read? Go back and forth. Review board, you can work on the review. You can comment on code, and then you go like, oh, that's why you did it. Go out and kill that comment again, instead of like sending, so I don't know. We'll probably at some point switch to GitHub because it's there and it's integrated. But, no, not anything. Somebody has data.
How do you regression test your changes before you deploy to production?
So you write regression tests, and then Jenkins runs them basically. Yeah, you run them yourself, and Jenkins runs them. Depending on the project. Some links, whatever, that's more for people who got the slides. Next one, we're hiring. Shameless plug. Yep, next one, and that's it. Probably just stop here, and then if people, I'll hang around, have some pizza, and have another beer in person. That's it. And by the way, the link there, bit.ly/cv_Django, that's the presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great talk. Good to see how more prominent startups around New York using Django. So it's good to see. So I think that's about it for this week. Thank you again to Yipit for hosting and helping organize and providing delicious food and beer that's over there. So I won't do anymore and just go check it out. Thanks, everybody.
So hi, my name is Michael Selick. I moved to New York in January and left my job about 2.5 weeks ago. So now I'm a freelance data scientist. More specifically, I do econometrics and some machine learning, so applied statistics and a little code. Yeah.
So what did you think of tonight's meetup and why did you come?
Well, I came here because, so I'm familiar with Django a little bit, I've done some Python code, and I thought it would be informative just to, if I want to build my own site, work on some projects with Django, but also just to meet other technologists, and also get to see the Yipit office. So,
are you a Yipit user?
No, I'm not. I don't use Yipit yet, but I've heard about them and heard a lot of good things about them, so I thought I would come here, introduce myself, and see if they need any data science work.
Cool. And what did you get out of tonight's information from Chartbeat?
Well,
and if you could repeat my question so I can cut myself out.
Sure. So what did I learn from Chartbeat's presentation? I learned that Django can be used for a lot more than just providing the front end of a website. So they showed that they were using a whole lot of Django instances for very specific purposes, and they gave a good example of how somebody might build a complete site, use Django to do everything about their application, and then later on split it apart into chunks so that they can scale and optimize each specific activity, still using Django, but each server, each essentially application doing only one specific thing and being optimized for it. So you can get a hold of me by email at Mike@selik.org. So that's Mike at selik.org.